Technical Agronomy office hours. Moderating here is Nick Weber, me in the blue. We got Lauren over from West Central Iowa, one of our technical agronomists with Channel. And then Matt's up in Maine. So we got a Mainer with us today from Dairy Country. And we'll talk about drones in agriculture, UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, whatever terminology. Most people call them drones. So agricultural drone use. We know tassel wrap is the hot topic across most of the country, so we're going to talk about drones today. But that's okay. If you got a tassel wrap question, we'll try to sneak one in later on. So yes, please pop some questions in the chat as we get rolling here. Thanks for joining us on all the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and I think we're on TikTok today for the first time on the channel brand. So that's pretty exciting for us. So we're going to get started here with just some basics and maybe start off with Matt. Drones in agriculture, been around maybe 10-ish, 15-ish years. I remember flying one about 10 years ago, and it just was like, oh, this is freaking cool, man. Like, you can get a little mini plane up in the sky and see some really cool stuff. Right. You've come a long way in that space. So kind of give us the 101, if you will, of drones and from an agricultural perspective, from farmers' perspective, and you as a SeedPro perspective.
Yeah, so I got involved with drones about 10 years ago, actually. Just started with a channel business, and I got my first picture drone, a little DJI Mavic, for the field checkup series. Basically, you could scout a lot more corn with a drone from the air than walking 40 feet out in the field. And then since then, my business has expanded, and fungicide on silage corn has become a bigger topic for controlling mycotoxins and stuff like that. So it really sparked me getting the drone sprayer in 2023 was a really wet season, and I had 2 or 3 of my big customers mention to me, I wish someone had a drone in the area to spray because we can't get out in the field. So that's what kicked me in the butt to get one. But I've always been a techie guy. I've always kind of been on the forefront of that, but the technology is changing so fast, it's kind of hard to keep up with now. But yeah, so I've got a picture drone, Mavic drone, just for pictures and hobby stuff, and then there's my logo. And I've got a M3 Mavic with an NDVI camera on it. I can fly to make prescriptions. We have a lot of potatoes up here too, so I can fly that and scout for Colorado potato beetle, late blight spore, stuff like that, and that spits out a prescription I can load into the drone sprayer and go spot spray or blanket spray. So I've got 3 drones in my lineup now that I use for my lineup.
Very cool. Very neat. Yeah, we'll dive into that tech feature and sort of where things have come in a minute here. But Lauren, as an agronomist, talk about your background with some of the usage of drones, and just how you communicate information maybe to customers by using them, or just basic overall experience with them so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like Matt said, I've been using UAVs or drones in the ag industry for about 10 years, back when we had those big white Phantom 4s that, if anybody remembers, those big boats that used to fly in the air. Now they're just getting smaller and more streamlined, better image quality, better cameras. Before you just took pictures, now you could take videos, and now it's in 4K. You could probably even live stream from those things, 200, 300 foot in the air. Just like he said, it's just changing so fast. It's hard to keep up. But right now I have a Mavic 2 Pro, just kind of something to do images with and videos with. But different platforms you could do stand counts with. I could talk about that a little bit later. But stand counts, images, tassel counts, crop health imagery with like an NDVI camera that you can attach, or just crop health imagery with various platforms you could subscribe to. But sharing those images with customers when maybe you have a wind event, or maybe like a hail event, or perhaps a tornado that comes through, to document things for insurance purposes, or really get a bird's eye view of how bad really it is or how really it isn't. Make people feel better too. So
yeah, that's good. And let's go into that crop scouting angle. Lauren, I'll stay with you here and bounce over to Matt. And so I think you have a few images you sent our way that we can pop up here as we're going along. But just maybe from a safety, not safety, but efficiency perspective, like you said, you can kind of scout it. There's certainly no replacement for boots on the ground, obviously, and seeing things, but having a drone kind of gives you that early look at like maybe where you need to go and identify some problems. Talk through how you've used them in that sense and helping customers and seed pros with that scouting angle.
Was that for me or Matt?
Yes,
Matt?
Lauren. Sorry, I was
Okay.
thinking of you, man. Eventually, I'll get this flow down.
Awkward silence.
Yeah,
No, that's
live, video. We're all good. We're just flowing.
Yeah.
Yep. So I use my UAV to I guess, yeah, like you mentioned before, instead of walking, you only get like a little glimpse of the field when you're walking out into the driveway, and using the drone to go up 100, 200, 300 foot, you can really see the back 40 and see where there's an issue that maybe you just can't see with your own 2 eyes and your own 2 feet. So I take those images, share them with the SeedPro, and maybe they have the ambition to walk way back there. Maybe that's not for me that day, but get them that tool to see kind of the bigger picture. I use that stand count feature with my UAV. I have a subscription to Drone Deploy, or Centera is another platform we have subscriptions to. But on this particular case, it was a competitor that had a poorer stand. You can see in the yellow boxes indicate a lesser stand compared to the green boxes that have where the channel was. And you get a report showing kind of general average stand count for the field, see where you're missing some stand, and kind of get you a better picture where to head. And then you can click on one of those dots, and off to the right there, you can see the gaps that platform will show you, just how bad those gaps are in the average gap count, and how wide those gaps are. So it really gets you some good, cool images. And then I have crop health imagery with that Drone Deploy, which would be the next image. It's not like NDVI, which kind of looks at the infrared of the leaf architecture and things. This just kind of looks at like towards the top of the image where maybe there's more ground showing, maybe not as dense leaf matter, but kind of does the similar thing. This particular, I was looking at green snap and wasn't seeing much. And then the next image, I just take some just still photos of like my plot, and I take kind of notes on stay green or lack thereof, and document all the different hybrids so I could share with my seed pros and customers if they're trying to pinpoint a certain agronomic need or want, like stay green.
Yeah.
And then I also use my UAV for looking at like high wind events and corn rootworm damage. It should be the next image there. Looking at competitors there towards the middle, and then how good the channel is standing there towards like the bottom of the image. Just kind of showcasing our technology and showcasing how good we are.
Yeah, it's great. And so, Matt, I guess, kind of building off of Lauren's and using the images really help tell that story, right? Like it's certainly, like we talked about earlier, boots on the ground matters and having conversations, but it certainly is probably a good conversation starter or insight to that customer to be like, oh, I'm glad you were doing that picture. Maybe kind of speak to some of those examples you guys have at your business.
Yeah, I also use climate field view a lot too. Like if we have a satellite imagery of a field and there's like a giant red spot or whatever, I'll just pop the drone up real quick and fly, like you said, to the back 40 or whatever and see actually what's going on there. It's nice to have those satellite images to video there of me spraying some corn. But yeah, it was fungicide season last summer. To correlate those satellite imageries, it gives you problem spots in the field, but then you actually pop the little drone up in the air and get actual visual. And that's a good call out Lauren did on the plots too for stay green. I do that too with all my plots too. I take a picture and you can really see just stuff from different perspectives. Jim Valent was my agronomist when I was growing up in Channel, and anybody knows Valent, he's got a photography business too, so he kind of taught me a lot of tricks of the trade, I guess. And on the seed side, like I built my business on service first, service first, and back in the day, Channel was really big on the field checkup series, and I bought that drone just to add another piece to the service portion of it. And I've actually used my drones for weird stuff. I've had customers call, like my cows get out and they're in the woods and I can't find them, so I go hunt cows down with the drone to locate them. I've used my drone sprayer to mist some insecticide on some cattle that had really bad fly pressure, and the farmer couldn't get to the cattle out on pasture. So
wow. Yeah. So the drones are just more than just crops. It is.
Yeah. I spread fertilizer on, because I can take the spray tank off the drone and put a dry fertilizer box. I spread fertilizer this spring for a golf course because we were so wet this spring they couldn't spread fertilizer on. And it's just, yeah, every day it's something new. Seems like so. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
every day.
No, that's right on. That's right on. That's great. So let's stay with Matt here and talking about using drones for the spray aspect. It's fungicide season across a good chunk of the country right now, and I'm probably coming up in Maine here shortly. I know you want to talk about silage, of course, but let's talk about spraying for the agricultural drone spraying and just how that has sort of changed some of the game. Like kind of where that fits in the picture, I guess.
Yeah, so about 3 or 4 years ago, there's been an industry shift in the silage industry, dairy industry, to focus more on corn health in season. We know that a healthier plant dries down faster. We have to harvest that silage at 34% dry matter, 35% dry matter, and that's really critical for good feed. And mycotoxins were an issue along a few years ago, and that causes some herd health concerns. And with a fungicide treatment, it boosts yield, and it takes care of that mycotoxin issue and actually saves some cattle. There's been an industry shift up here, taking better care of the corn for the cows. And yeah, I don't know how many acres I did last year, but it's growing every year, a couple thousand anyway, probably. So it's not like huge acres yet, but I'm just one person too. So there is 3 or 4 other drone sprayers in our state now. So we're not typically thought of as an ag state, but there's 40,000 acres of corn. So, which isn't a lot to the I states, but it's a pretty big state. So, yeah,
still matters.
Any other questions on that, I guess?
No. I'm going to flip over to Lauren here. And actually, we got a good question from Instagram from a 15-year-old farmer. It's kind of relates to some of the stuff Matt talked about, but I think he probably asked the question a heck of a lot better than I could have. So I'm just going to actually let him do the talking here, which is, why do crops get sprayed with drones, Lauren? And maybe kind of build off some of the stuff that Matt was just talking about of the uses that we have for agriculture drone spraying.
Yep, absolutely. So like Matt has mentioned, UAVs are being used for spraying agricultural crop fields for the use of like fungicide applications or insecticide applications to spray on that crop to kind of help prevent or cure diseases that are kind of popping up right about now. The diseases are kind of hot and heavy right now in the crop canopy, and using a UAV, maybe you can get to the crop a little faster than what a ground rig can get to, or an airplane or a helicopter. Maybe you're on a waiting list with those guys and you kind of need it done right now. A UAV is a little bit more quick to get there. In some cases, just depends on how many UAVs are out there. Maybe the ground is really, really wet and you can't get your ground rig out there. So UAV or airplanes or helicopters could be used, but that's where UAVs come in. And then I guess in my own personal family farm, we just have a couple fields that aren't really square. They kind of butt up next to a river, and helicopters and planes have typically had a tough time getting some good coverage along the curvy bends of the river. And my dad chose to use a UAV this year, so that's kind of another application. And they can get to places like smaller fields that are maybe chunked up a little bit, back 40 with a bunch of timber and stuff. They're just a little bit more accurate in their application process.
Yeah, that's good. And kind of flipping over to Matt, another question we had was, and maybe as your experience with this is like payloads. and what drones can carry nowadays is increasing. And I think that's like kind of building on what Lauren just said too, is like, there's always going to be, there are needs for planes and ground rigs and drones that are now fitting into the picture because they have a sort of unique fit, but payload is one of those aspects. And maybe kind of define some of the terms around it as you're thinking about with sprays and the capacity that they can hold.
Yeah, so I bought mine in the late fall of 23, and I bought a DJI, and there's two sizes larger than that since I bought one, almost not even 2 years ago now. So capacity is always increasing. Seems like that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger on the drone side. But on the airplane side, there's only one spray plane that I know of in Maine. And to Lauren's point, we just farm patches in the woods up here. So we have a lot of small fields, a lot of every field's surrounded by trees. So we are the pine tree state. So but I don't know where the limit is on the capacity of these things. I know other countries have different laws and regulations. But we are bound to a certain. We have to actually have a permit from the FAA because it's over 50 pounds, but it's capped at, I believe, 300 pounds. I think so. Until those regulations change, I don't see the capacity of the sprayer drones getting much larger than they are right now. It's kind of a policy thing first, and then, but I mean, mine's a 10.5 gallon sprayer, capacity wise, and there's 25 gallon sprayers out there in other countries. So
gotcha. What can that cover by Jane, Matt? Like a 10.5 gallon sprayer from a coverage angle?
Yep. So I target 2 gallon per acre spray rate on fungicide, so it's pretty concentrated. So I like to try to get 5 acres a batch.
Okay.
In good fields, you can get you can get about an acre a minute.
Okay.
So, yeah,
it's pretty.
But then
it's pretty good.
The time. Yeah. So the only time you're really working is when you're filling.
Yeah.
So when it's spraying, it's all autonomous. So everyone asks how many acres can you spray in a day. It's like, well, how good's your setup? How efficient are you? It's like a NASCAR pit stop. It's like how fast can you jam a new battery in there and jam it with spray material?
Yeah. So you like bring your truck out to the field basically and have the spray set up. On a trailer, like you said, kind of a pit stop almost, right?
Yeah. I have a hot batch tank where I pre-mix everything. Like if I'm going to do 200 acres that day or whatever, I'll mix up 200 acres. It's on a fuel nozzle, a reel, just squirt it in and slam a new battery in there. So, but the capacity of the spray drones, to your question, is it's more of a policy thing than an equipment thing. There is equipment out there right now. It's just not in the U.S. So as soon as the policy changes and the regulations change, we'll have them probably overnight.
Got it. Good deal. Lauren, let's talk return on investment with these things, right? Like it's lots of technology comes fast in agriculture, and you kind of have with any technology, there's the bell curve of adoption. And we're kind of seeing like you guys have both said, it's been about 10 years since you sort of had. So seems early in the scheme of things, but maybe it certainly has matured quickly. But there's got to be a return on investment for farmers to want to reach out to yourself or people like Matt as a business owner to say like, hey, that's going to deliver some money in my pocket, especially in these kind of tougher commodity times. What are some of the conversations you have with farmers about that? Or what are some of the insights they're delivering? Like, hey, I'm seeing this turn of benefit from my farm.
I see the added benefit of timely scouting, timely application of things. I've had where I've found with my UAV a big nitrogen miss with maybe with liquid or anhydrous from the previous fall, and the farmer was able to go out real quick when the corn was short enough to go and do some side dressing. So we saved a lot of bushels there. So that's a good ROI that I've helped with personally. But scouting for disease, you can't really see the little flecks on the leaves, but you can, to Matt's point, kind of see spots in the field, and then that gets you to a better view to go out and scout that yourself. Saves you a lot of time of scouting and kind of a better broad acre view versus just that driveway. But you can really pinpoint applications. Maybe you're seeing your edges and your borders kind of start to burn up from Japanese beetles or maybe little pockets in the bean field start to turn white from aphids, you could really pinpoint that and start calling people to get applications made with insecticide to get out there timely and save the crop or save bushels.
Yeah, that's good. Matt, what about you? Same kind of question.
Yeah, on that ROI piece, I did a job, a herbicide job a couple weeks ago on a small dairy. He has 100 acres of corn, but it's in like, I can't remember. I think it was like 14 fields. So that gives you the scope of the.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So his typical custom applicator, ground rig, a lot of small fields. Again, they run over a lot of corn. In silage corn, we harvest the whole plant. Mm-hmm. So, you can wreck a ton or two of silage per acre pretty easy when you run over it. So, ton of silage is roughly worth $50. So, he pointed that out to me. He's like, "You didn't run over a stitch of corn, so I'm saving. I'm getting a couple ton yield bump just from that." And I was like, "Well, shoot, I didn't charge enough." But but ROI equipment side, I do have a ground sprayer as well for my farm, and I do some spraying with that. But new John Deere sprayer here is $700,000. Mm-hmm. It's pretty, and I bought my drone set up for $40,000. That's licensing and everything. Yeah. So that just gives you, you can buy quick math. You can buy 15 drones per cost of new John Deere. So I don't know what the lifespan of them is. I've already had trouble with batteries. Okay. Only a year and a half out. So I think there's a lot of technology that can, that technology and the batteries can improve dramatically because the batteries are about $2,500 a piece. So there's a couple of those it sucks, but I don't know exactly what the ROI. I'm pretty new to the drone stuff, so but just cost of equipment wise, it's
sure. And I guess kind of one of the final questions here as we start to wrap up, and certainly if you're still listening with us on the platforms, pop a question in the comment section. We'll do our best to get to it here. So Matt, staying with you is what is like the future look like, and your crystal ball or whatever you want to kind of point to, like if we're talking the next 5 years, what are some of the cool things you're excited about as this technology, maybe not just in drones, but related to drones, like kind of advances?
Yeah, I don't exactly know where it's going because it's changed so fast in the last, like I said, I started 10 years ago and there's been a huge change to now, but even from when I bought my sprayer drone to now, just 2 years down the road, it's changed dramatically. So I think capacity with the drone sprayer is going to be bigger. I think the battery technology is going to be bigger. I also think that a lot more growers are going to have their own as a tool in the toolbox. Maybe not spray broad acre with it, but spot spraying, stuff like that. I do believe once the regulations get a little bit easier and a little bit looser, I think the growers are going to have their own. A lot more growers are going to have their own. Because that's the biggest hurdle right now is getting you got to get the part of your pilot's license. You have to get 2 or 3 exemptions from the FAA, and those can take 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, or I don't think 6 years, but I've heard of 6 months. I think the regulations have to ease up, but once those do, they already have got a lot easier since I've gone through that whole process 2 years ago. So every year it gets easier and easier, and I think growers will have their own eventually.
Yeah, just about every kid has one now. It seems like so. It probably is trending that way, right? Yeah. Lauren, what about you? What do you see it from maybe more from the agronomy lens that you see it through? Where are some of those huge changes you see, and maybe where this is potentially going?
That stand count functionality has been around for a while, and it just keeps getting better and better and way more accurate. I do those stand counts, and then I go out and I'm like, how accurate is this? And I go out with the tape measure, and it is spot on. So that can only get better. Scouting can only get better. Image quality can only get better. Yeah. We mentioned when we were kind of getting set up for this is that these UAVs have the functionality to detect heat with some of these cameras and images, and that could be used in crop canopy and heat and stress in that crop canopy. But these UAVs are used for rescuing people that are lost in cornfields or lost in tragic events. It's really cool. These UAVs have saved a lot of lives too.
That's true. That's
I've
true.
actually got a question for Lauren. What program do you like to use for stand counts?
Oh boy. So I've always kind of used Drone Deploy from my previous role to now, but Centera is another very, very good company. I'm just not used to it as much, but they both use that stand count functionality, and it's very intuitive and very easy. I think Drone Deploy even has like a kind of like a couple days free use to try it out and play with. So
what's the turnaround time typically? I know that was the issue when the technology first came. It took forever to get, a stand count doesn't do me very good if it have to wait 3 weeks for the report or whatever. That's
no,
probably
it's immediate. Like I'm
really?
flying, like how you
set
you set it up, and I just sit there with my hands crossed, and the drone flies itself for 10, 15 minutes, and then it comes back, and I'm watching the stand counts on my phone screen come through, so I can tell live time that it's actually doing its job, or maybe we need to stop the flight and come back and reset. But I have found where there's a lot of point rows and maybe a lot of terraces, that kind of can throw your stand counts off a little bit.
Yeah. So that technology has gotten a lot faster then. That's good. Good to hear.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I think we're at a good spot to wrap this up. Any final words of wisdom or maybe comments from you guys as we sit here on July 25th and the season's past its halfway point? Matt, we'll start with you as our SeedPro expert. Some words of wisdom for your neck of the Northeast, for your growers and customers in your world.
Words of wisdom. I don't know if I have any words of wisdom. And if anybody listening, if you want to get into drones or whatever, there's a million hours of YouTube videos, research. Just dive in. There's so many resources out there that can help you. I just when I was wanting to get into the sprayer, I researched them all from the hardware to the software. There's just a ton of research out there. You can get a pretty good idea of what direction you want to go. Just dive in. The internet has a lot of garbage on it. It is a good resource too if you know how to.
There's some pearls out there occasionally.
There is. Just, you got to know where to look for them. Just dive right in. If you were interested in it, just dive in and do it. So the technology in the drones has come a long ways. It's hard. It's not impossible to crash a spray drone, but I've done it. But they are pretty sweet. They pretty much do their own thing. So don't be scared of that.
I was just gonna say that it's they've got all sorts of sensors and that all over it. It's pretty hard. They're pretty smart. They come back when they're about ready to die, need to change batteries, and so to Matt's point, don't be hesitant. They're really user friendly. They're very kind of dummy proof, I think. I mean, if I could use them, everybody could use them. But they're really, really good, beneficial tool. They're getting better and better with their image quality and things, and with subsequently kind of getting cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
look at the ROI. They were pretty spendy when they first came out because they were new. You could get maybe an entry level UAV for a little cheaper and kind of get your feet wet and use it and enjoy it. But there's an added part of safety to UAVs too. I got to put my little safety hat on. The FAA kind of has a lot of rules and regulations for a reason, and it's a very useful tool, and we all got to kind of abide by those rules so we don't get this cool tool taken away from us. So that's right. Have to get our license and things.
Good call out.
Very good call out. Good way to wrap this one up too. So thank you all for joining us here. Matt, thanks for your time, and Lauren as well. Very good insights on drones and agriculture and how they're kind of changing the game for farmers and businesses. And if you're interested, like Matt and Lauren both said, I believe, you reach out to a SeedPro, your technical agronomist, your channel. They're going to show up on the farm and help you make some good decisions when it comes to scouting your crop or providing some imagery to help you diagnose some problems. They have some really cool tools for your SeedPros and channels, so they'll show up and help you out. And thanks for joining us again on another office hours. We'll try to do this again closer to harvest time. There's going to be a very busy August with field days and harvest starting in some areas, and Farm Progress Show and Husker Harvest Days and all the ag shows across the country. So stay safe as you get out there. Stay cool. It's very hot down here, man. I don't know how it is in Maine. I'm probably a lot
It's
cooler
gonna be 90 today. I'm gonna
90. Oh wow! Watch out up there. Stay
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. We're gonna top out at a 105 heat index, I think, today. So
You can have that.
We'll take it easy maybe. But thanks for joining us, guys, and have a great day, rest of the day, and rest of your summer there.
Thank you.